In hockey, wearing a mask was born from the need to protect goaltenders from the most dangerous position in professional sports. Prior to mask-wearing pioneers such as Jacques Plante, injuries to the head and face were serious and frequent. In the 1929-30 season, goaltender Clint Benedict of the Montreal Maroons was the lucky recipient of a puck to the face courtesy of star Canadiens forward Howie Morenz. Benedict temporarily donned a leather mask while the wound healed. Yet despite his example, it took 30 more years before another goalie would mimic him. Only this time, it was for good. At Madison Square Garden, New York, November 1st, 1959, the face of hockey began to change. Jacques Plante, in the midst of proving himself as one of the most innovative goalies of his time, was struck in the face by a shot from Ranger star Andy Bathgate. Within minutes, Plante returned, stitched up and bloodied, but with his mask to protect him. Conceived with the help of a Montreal-based fiberglass craftsman, the iconic mask was quite simply a molded plate with holes for his eyes and nose. Plante soon began iterating on the original design, developing another mask reminiscent of a spider's web, which in turn would directly inspire Ken Dryden's first mask from the early 70s. Wearing a mask seemed like a no-brainer. But despite Plante's clear example, few goaltenders rushed to catch up with his innovation. Habs goalies, as with the rest of the NHL, continued to guard the net with bare faces. The protective revolution that was expected ended up becoming a slow and steady evolution for goaltenders in the NHL, perhaps partly due to some of the failings of early mask designs, like obstructed vision and increased perspiration. It wasn't until the late 60s, with substantial research and development and major shifts in attitude towards masks, that Charlie Hodge became one of the first in the league, and the second Habs goalie, to follow in Plante's footsteps. Unlike Plante's mask, though, this was a turning point for goaltenders, marking the end of the maskless era and ushering in one that would forever change the face of hockey as we know it. With the spiderweb mask as an example, versions with added ventilation were developed. But the true innovation of the decade came from Boston goaltender Gerry Cheevers, whose contribution was aesthetic as opposed to functional. Cheevers drew stitches on his mask to record the shots he'd taken that would otherwise have left him scarred and injured. Other goalies in the league soon followed suit. The most memorable mask of the time was worn by Ken Dryden, instantly becoming an icon in not only hockey, but in popular culture as well. With Dryden's target design setting a high watermark for mask aesthetics, teammates Michel Place, Wayne Thomas, and Michel Larocque personalized their own in distinctive ways, shaping their masks in order to appear darker, more aggressive, and above all, more intimidating for would-be goal scorers. By the end of the decade, Denis Héron and Richard Sevigny had painted masks to reflect their own styles. But before long, goalie mask designs began to diverge into two approaches. In an increased effort to protect the head as much as the face, Canadiens goaltenders Steve Penney and Brian Hayward began to adopt the cage-helmet combination, a design seen years before on Red Army goalie Vladislav Tretiak during the 1972 Summit Series. During this time, another style was adopted that would become the archetype of the masks we all know today. Canadiens goalies adopted this new model, recycling elements of Plante's concern for overall protection, incorporating the narrow, deflective shapes of the 70s, all while implementing the cage design popularized in the 80s. Not unlike early widespread adoption of masks in the time of Charlie Hodge, the masks were remarkably tidy, but not for long. Goalkeepers quickly began introducing the mythical imagery of 70s masks and customizing them for added kick and personality. Rick Walmsley painted his, with Patrick Waugh and Brian Hayward following quickly on his heels, each with his own style and flair. Jocelyn Thibault's mask, for example, is a clear homage to the groundbreaking spiderweb design by Jacques Plante. While there are clear examples of the mask as a means to honor hockey, the logo, the mythology, all the above or none at all, there is no denying that the hockey mask has become a powerful means of self-expression. Hockey masks can't be confused with a means to disguise or hide one's identity, but on the contrary, to reveal it.